Okay, so do we live in an oligarchy or do we live in a kleptocracy? Because we clearly don't have representative democracy in the United States. Yeah, our governmental structure pays lip service to us being a representative democracy, but since at least Citizens United and long before, starting with Reaganomics, starting with the robber barons, we've gone up and down on how much the United States functions as a kleptocracy. The oligarchy has always been present, but I think right now we are in this moment where it's just an outright kleptocracy. And you may be like, well, what's the difference? An oligarchy is basically where a country is run by a small group of elites, and they can be the super wealthy. And there's some overlap there between a plutocracy and an oligarchy. A plutocracy is where the wealthiest people run the country. In an oligarchy, there's a set group of powerful people who aren't necessarily always the richest people, but there is overlap, right? Billionaires are part of that equation. We've functioned under an oligarchy for quite a while, and that goes hand in hand with living in a system of capitalism, of free market capitalism, where the Supreme Court has decided that corporations are people, where actually this country is going to serve profit above all. Corporate greed is the name of the game, and it's been for a long time how corporations can game the system to benefit them to our detriment. But what we're seeing right now under Donald Trump is a really overt kleptocracy. Kleptocracy is from the Greek klepto, I steal, and kratos, meaning power or rule. I steal the power. Kleptocracy is all about corruption, and Donald Trump is all about corruption. So in a kleptocracy, the powerful and the super wealthy use their political power to grift, to embezzle, to steal. It's all about using our taxpayer dollars for the super rich to enrich themselves. Tax dollars that should be funding things like FEMA, Medicaid, universal health care, medical research, making sure our roads are safe to drive on, making sure we have a safe electric grid, all of the things that a tax base should be doing to fund a functional society for us, the people who pay taxes. In a kleptocracy, that tax money is taken and misappropriated to the super rich. You know, like those government contracts saying it's necessary for the Defense Department to buy millions and millions of dollars worth of Tesla Cybertrucks. In a kleptocracy, we are getting fleeced and our tax money is being used for the super rich, for corporations. They are benefiting from our labor, our life hours, and then also now our tax dollars. Another name for kleptocracy is thievocracy. Maybe that's a better word because it's something that people can get immediately. Oh yeah, thievocracy. The super rich are using their wealth and power to steal from us, the people. I'm going to read this quote here. One feature of political-based socioeconomic thievery is that there is often no public announcement explaining or apologizing misappropriations, nor any legal charges or punishment leveled against the offenders. And I was trying to discuss this dynamic over the last couple of videos, talking about the $12 billion in bailouts that are going to farmers, except they're not going to farmers at all. They're going to big agribusiness. As our farm bailouts tend to do, they are going to giant corporations, super, super wealthy men. That's part of the kleptocracy, just as much as billions of dollars of contracts going to Peter Thiel, just as much as billions of dollars of our tax money going to in SpaceX for space mining of rare minerals, just as much as it is Donald Trump pardoning CEOs who are in prison for committing white-collar crimes. The amount of corruption in this country is unreal, but I was trying to tie it back to our farming because this has been going on for a long time in farming. And when I say that we have a shared oppressor with our farmers, what I mean is not big agribusiness. What I mean is big agribusiness has screwed over and basically destroyed the family farm. In the same way that the billionaires, corporations are destroying democracy in the name of greed, in the name of grift, in the name of profit above all else. It's all about kickbacks and bribes. Oh, Paramount bends the knee here, and then they get their merger over here. It's all about who's greasing each other's palms. And I think what's happening with the farm bailout right now is an excellent example. This has been happening in agriculture for a long time. It's been happening in a lot of industries with a lot of corporations for a long time. It's the same way SNAP benefits actually are really, really corporate welfare for Walmart and Albertsons and other brands that, what? Are big Trump supporters? What? Yeah, these giant businesses, of course, they're going to be Trump supporters. He is making sure that they get our tax money. So let me give you an example here. By the way, More Perfect Union, fantastic reporting. You should go watch the whole piece, but here's a clip.
We're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers.
Over the last 8 years, the federal government has sent farmers over $130 billion in emergency aid. But when you follow where that money actually goes, it reveals who's really profiting from this system and why more bailouts won't fix it.
So when I get an aid package, okay, that money will never come to me. It comes straight through my hands into whoever I owe the money to.
When federal money is sent to farmers who have debts, like most small farmers, they quickly pass it on to the companies they borrowed from to buy the products they need to farm, like seed, fertilizer, and machinery. And the combined costs of those inputs have risen far faster than what farmers can sell their crops for on the market. Farmers pay 3 times higher on inputs than they did in the 1990s.
What has gotten us to this point is the mergers and consolidations of ag input suppliers. When I started farming, we had 5 or 6 Arkansas-based seed companies. Monsanto, there's none. They're all owned by Bayer or Pioneer.
In the last 40 years, thousands of seed companies have merged into 3. 46 fertilizer firms have merged into 4. And just 2 farm machinery companies dominate the markets for tractors and combines.
Just for easy numbers, say I'm going to make $500 an acre gross on an acre of whatever. Well, those companies know that, and they will price their stuff up to like $490. The lack of competition is the reason they can keep those prices inflated, and there's nothing we can do about it. They're going to push us up to the brink, and then when they tip us over the edge, they're going to go to the taxpayer for the balance.
If the Trump administration responds to this crisis with another toothless antitrust investigation, another farm bailout, and another Band-Aid deal with China, nothing will fundamentally change for American farmers.
Is this really a resilient farm system, or should we be thinking differently? We used to have more of a supply management system, but we've gotten rid of that.
Supply management is the name for policies that establish price floors for important crops so that farmers don't have to fear operating at a loss year after year. One study found that a supply management system could have saved taxpayers nearly $100 billion in farm aid payments over 2 decades. Instead, that money largely flowed through farmers to some of the world's largest corporations.
Give us a price floor, which makes us performance-based. So if you guarantee me $12.50 a bushel for my beans, it costs $11.50 to raise them. You've guaranteed me $1 a profit on the bushels, right? Then it's on me to go do the work. We'll make the bushels so that I increase my profit. Would that not kind of end the bailout program if you had a floor?
So there's a whole other conversation there about whether or not we should have base prices. We should set a floor, not only for fruits and vegetables, but also for commodities. But this is the point that I keep trying to make, and too many people are not understanding me because I'm clearly not communicating it well enough. The problem for everybody in this country is mega corporations, is capitalism, is the exploitation of all of us by the super rich. It has basically destroyed farming in this country and made it so there are a few extremely wealthy people running our food system and also running commodities to our detriment. It makes us less food secure as a nation. It puts wealth and power and our land into the hands of a few people who do not have our best interest at heart. They are run by profit. They're not run by sustainability. They're not run by environmental responsibility. They don't give a shit about farm laborers and their rights. They don't care about immigrants. It's all about how they can make more and more profit. And as long as they can get bailouts of our tax money, the system never has to be sustainable. It never has to work for farmers. It never has to work for you and me, because they're just going to keep bleeding us. They're just going to keep bleeding us and taking our tax money because we are living in a kleptocracy where it's not about long-term sustainability. It's not looking at the future of this nation. It's just looking at immediate profit. How do we post a big profit next quarter? If we're not going to post a big profit, how do we just take some taxpayer dollars to compensate for that? Kleptocracy is inherently completely unsustainable because it is stealing from all of us so that the super rich can line their pockets. We can't just sit here, though, and be like, the system is unsustainable. Let's wait for it to fall apart. They're stealing from us. They're destroying our democracy. They're destroying they've spent decades destroying our farms, all in the name of corporate greed and profit. And if we don't organize to stop it, it will get worse. They are taking our wealth, the wealth of this nation, for themselves, for their own extravagance and luxury. And that cannot continue.